that's the subject this week. We're going to add an ad account, a pixel, and then we're going to show you how to install the pixel on your WordPress site.
If you're on WordPress, this is what the WordPress backend looks like. We're going to go install a plugin to get our pixel on this website.
Our podcast is on Spotify and Apple. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Late Night eComm, and like and subscribe. Wow. So welcome to the third episode of the Late Night eComm podcast with Thad and Rachel. Rachel is out of town skiing, being awesome, doing all the cool stuff Rachel does. Rachel, how are you feeling today?
I feel great. Yeah, I broke my toe on Monday and I am skiing on it every single day. It feels great. It's actually getting better by the day. But I figured for a family ski vacation in Idaho, I had to go skiing anyways. You know, I can't pass that up.
You've got to do it. I mean, it's like what do they call it? It's a moral imperative, right?
Yes, it's a moral imperative. Seriously.
When you're a world-class skier, there's nothing like, a broken toe is going to slow you down. Give me a break.
Thank you, Thad. Yeah, no, it's funny. I actually still make it down first out of my family members a lot of the times.
I'm wondering what that says about you or them, or do we even really want to get into that?
I mean, I've literally been skiing since I was 1 year old. So, I mean, I wasn't even conscious when I started skiing. So you can't really compare that.
It's not fair. Yeah. Well, we won't blame it on them. It's your drive. It's your competitive nature. It's your awesomeness that allows you to ski with a broken toe.
I appreciate it. I think it's my high pain tolerance, but that's genetic. So I can thank my family for that one.
Wow. Always giving back, Rachel. Well, it's good to be here. I'm really excited for tonight's episode.
Yeah, me too.
So last time we were talking about adding an ad account to your business manager. So we started with the business manager and we finished by saying in this week, we're going to add your ad account. So that's the subject this week. We're going to add an ad account, a pixel, and then we're going to show you how to install the pixel on your WordPress site tonight. We're doing it live. I better switch the view here. I've got speaker view. There we go. We'll do gallery so that we can see both of our smiling, gorgeous faces tonight at the same time.
Dad, you are gorgeous.
Oh, thanks. Rachel, I pale in comparison to you, though. Everybody knows it. They're just here to see you. It's all good. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let me share my screen here. We're going to do screen share. Let me find the right screen to share. Here it is. Boom, there we go. So when last we spoke, we were here in our business account, and you can see that both Rachel and I are in our business account. So we've added ourselves as people in our business account. And this is important. Again, I just want to recap real fast why you want to have multiple people as users within your business account. Because if one person gets their personal account sent to Facebook jail, you have a backup. You have someone else that can take over the ad account management experience for your clients.
That's super important. Yeah. So Thad also, he added me. When you go to people right here, you can add people by their email or their name. So he typed in my email and I went, that's probably the easiest way to do it. You can search through Facebook, but for the people you're friends with and stuff like that. But the easiest way I find is just to type in their email. It'll go to their email. It's not always in your priority inbox. So just go to your full mailbox view and then you'll find it in there and it'll say somebody has given you access and you basically say, okay.
So And it's important to recognize here when we're adding somebody, you can give them full administrative access or employee only access. So difference being what you might guess, administrative access can add new pixels, add new ad accounts, add new people. So make sure that the people you add as administrators, you want to have that access. If you want to merely assign them access as an employee, meaning you want them to be able to create ads and things like that, but not make any changes to your business itself in the eyes of Facebook, just give them employee access.
Yeah, that's important to note when you're talking about security.
And risk mitigation, which we talked about last time. So if you didn't catch us last week, hop in the group, mine or Rachel's, and go check out that video. We talked a lot about a lot of good stuff in there. So we haven't talked about this. We can touch on this at a different time, but the financial portions of your business manager is a topic for a later date, but you do have access for additional roles there. So
yeah, for now, it's just the basic, that's stuff that you can get into once your company grows to a larger size, but when you're making your first couple million or below, I mean, you don't really need to worry about all that.
Yeah. And I think, as we go through this journey here on this podcast, we'll be getting into more and more advanced topics. So right now we're just starting with the basics. We want to kind of teach you guys that don't know, start with a foundation, a solid basics, and then we'll move into more advanced topics. So we will cover those things at a later time. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. And today, what do you want to start with first? Because you can theoretically do either first. We're going to do a pixel and we're going to do an ad account. And by do, I mean we're going to create.
Right. So let's start with ad account. It's first in the list here.
Okay, awesome.
So you can see we don't have an ad account. So this is a brand new, fresh, clean business manager almost. And we'll get to that later.
Yes. And this may be confusing for you guys who are already running ads that didn't have a business manager before. You're going to want to create an ad account here.
Right. That's a good point, Rachel. It's important to note that you could add an existing ad account, for example, a client's ad account, one that you already have. We should note here, you can add a personal ad account into your business manager. Again, we don't recommend that you're running ads at your personal account, but please don't do this, but you could.
Do this.
Right?
You could, if you already are running ads, you could do this. We don't recommend it. But this is a good place to transition to doing business, business account ads rather than on your personal ad account. Because like we said, just want to reiterate, one of the biggest reasons why you don't use your personal ad account is because when you get shut down, you're completely shut out. Yeah,
and that's not good for anyone. And one of the reasons that this is so powerful, and this is why you want to use Business Manager, is the power of it. But another reason is that if you have your personal ad account and you have a pixel already, just like an ad account addition, you can add an existing pixel, and we'll get to that. But for now, let's do create a new ad account. What should we call it? We want to give our ad account a name that relates to the business that we're going to manage with it. So if we were going to use this for our late night eComm WordPress with Woocommerce store, right? So a lot of people tend to just name it, some numbers. They'll use some kind of thing that's unique to their understanding, when in reality, you want to name it unique to your business so that it's identifiable by you and your team.
Yes, because in the future, when you do have an agency working for you, or you have somebody who is managing multiple ad accounts, they're going to want to know who you are, and they're either going to identify you by your first name, if you're smaller, but more likely they're going to be identifying you as your business name. So for the sake of clarity, just name it your business name. It makes the most sense. And if you have multiple businesses, it'll make it easier too, so that you have business accounts for the different business ad accounts for the different businesses you have.
Yeah, perfect. One other thing that I kind of do as a best practice is I will actually put, for example, late night eComm ad account. Facebook changes the way that they show names throughout the business manager, and when you're sharing assets with other partners and things like that, but they don't change the naming. Like this ad account name will be consistent. So it's helpful to have that this is the ad account. You might name it Late Night eComm, and then you name your business manager. Ours is called Late Night eComm. Then you might name your pixel Late Night eComm, and you share all these things with a partner, and all they see is Late Night eComm. They don't know which one is which. So it's helpful to actually put ad account on there.
Right. It might seem redundant, but it's actually helpful to see on your side and on your team side and anyone else you share it with. You know, when you share assets, they're not always categorized that way and into different categories of assets. It's just assets. So this can be very helpful when we're looking at a drop down selector of things to know which one's which.
Yeah, for sure. The less we can confuse our teams, the better. But anyway, it's just helpful. And we'll, as we go into ad accounts and structuring campaigns, ad sets, and ads, we'll show you why this naming convention is even more important the more granular you get within your ad accounts. So let's see here. Let's move forward here. So here, important. Who will this be used for? Are we creating an ad account for a partner, for a different business, or for our business? In this case, we're going to create our own, right? But it's, if you're working with a client that has never done anything regarding Facebook or Instagram ads before, you can create their ad accounts for them and assign them as the owner of them at a later time. So that is helpful. It's a good way to help out clients that have no experience in the space or have never set this up before. You can really kind of, take a lot of burden off of their shoulders.
Yeah, that's important to note. I've got a lot of clients, people I talk to who, that's one of the things they're worried about. They're at the point where they still want to do a lot of things themselves, but they don't really want to delegate. And so sometimes it's a matter of, okay, you can do it yourself. Here's how. And you can watch a video like this, or it's something like this where we go in and we'll set it up like this and we just click another business or client, and then we just add that ad account to you, for you, and then you will be an owner later on. So it's not like we're taking full control and you can't access it ever, because I think a lot of people worry about that, and rightfully so. And especially if you haven't delegated a lot, if you're just, starting out as a business owner, or you're a contractor and you are switching from boosting posts to maybe venturing into doing a little bit of advertising for your clients. This is something that, if you're worried about how this works, well, this is how it works. This is kind of how we go through it, and, nothing crazy going on. It's easy to understand. It just sometimes the platform kind of makes it hard to understand when you're going through it.
Yeah, especially, you make a really good point there, Rachel, especially with Facebook's changing, various systems all the time. And even more frustrating for us as agency owners, they will roll out changes across ad accounts or business managers, not all at once. So I may come into your business as a partner and see your ad accounts and they look a certain way. And then I go to another partner and their ad account looks a totally different way. So, it's important to stay up on this stuff. And, that's what we do for a living. We love it. We're in it every day. So.
Yeah. And I think you brushed on it, but they have the tiered rollouts, but they also just have literally multiple versions. And you never know what version you're on. It's not clear. It's not like told across the entire organization of Facebook so that anyone can help you. It's like, there's just different versions. So you may go to a help article that says you should do this. And you may be thinking to yourself, why am I not getting this? Like, I feel you might start to think like there's something wrong with you. It's just convoluted and the information may be already obsolete that you're reading, or only applicable to another version of Facebook. So don't worry, don't blame yourself. It's not you. Most of the time, it's not like like anything you're doing, if you can't figure it out, don't feel stupid. It's like, that's what's going on. So if it seems confusing, that's why.
Yeah, and it's confusing for a lot of people. So you're not alone in that. So come to the groups, come ask us questions. I'm watching our Facebook Live right now for comments. So if you guys are watching this right now and you have questions, drop them in the Facebook chat. We'll do our best to get to them. We like questions. If you're watching this later on, whether you're on YouTube, you're listening on our podcast on Anchor FM or Spotify, drop questions. We will answer them in the next podcast. So don't be shy. That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are here to help. So go ahead and ask us any questions.
Fire away. So let's keep moving. We are going to add this as our business, Late Night eComm, right?
Late Night eComm ad account.
Late Night eComm ad account. Say that fast 45 times. So now here, just like we added people to our business manager, we can now add those people to assets within our account that Rachel mentioned. So this ad account is now an asset, and you can see our names here. So we would add Rachel and myself. Now, again, what permissions do we want to give them? We can choose these permissions because we are admins of this business manager. So let's say that we had added a person, for example, if I had added Rachel and she was just an employee, do I want her to just view performance? Maybe she's just going to be reporting. She's just an account manager for our client-facing services, and her job is to report with our clients and have weekly meetings. I may just give her view performance. In general, for someone like Rachel and I, we're going to do manage ad account, and this is going to give her the ability to create campaigns, create ad sets, create ads, which is everything that a media buyer is going to need within Facebook.
And if you're wary in the beginning, and maybe you've already, let's say you already set up an ad account and you've been running campaigns, and you're not sure how well they're doing, you want someone else to kind of check that out. What you can do here is you can ask someone like Thad or I and say, hey, I want you to look at my ad account. And what we do is we do a full audit, but all you have to do is say view performance, and we can look at all this for you. So we look at your whole ad account, we do an audit of it, and then we show to you what exactly is going on. What's your return on investment? Is your ad account optimized properly? We go through the whole thing for you, and then bring that back to you so you can make actionable, you can look at this data and make actionable, I guess, actions. I don't know how to say this, but you can figure out what's going right and what's going wrong, So we always offer that to people that we talk to, just so they can make sure that whether or not they want to work with us or not, they have the right information going forward so that they know that what they're doing is actually good for their business.
That's a really good point. This whole podcast is about education. And so, if you want to give someone viewer performance and ask them to do an audit, you're going to benefit from that if it's a reputable agency. We do this week in and week out with our clients. And the goal here is to give you, like Rachel said, actionable steps you can take to move the needle, whether you're working with us or not. Whether it's, we're seeing that you're not using lookalike audiences, you might consider that. We're seeing that you're not retargeting. That's a huge performance boost that you will see in your site conversions if you're running an e-commerce store where you're selling goods and services. So we give you these steps so that you can take them yourself. Our goal is to help you as a business owner. That's first and foremost on all of our minds. So it's an important process. And if you have an agency that you're working with, take advantage of that. Take them up on that. It's going to serve you well.
Mm-hmm. Great point, then. I think we can probably move on from now.
For sure. So we'll assign these.
This is important. We won't show this on the screen, but the next step is to add your payment info. You might not want to right away, but having an account that's, basic. This is basic, but separate business account. Maybe it's just at your local credit union, you go open up a business account. having a separate EIN number, setting that up, separating your expenses, but just making sure you have payment information, because the last thing you want to have happen is like, I mean, I know you have to have this to get started. They want your money. It's Facebook, but you want to make sure you have funds allocated, more than enough funds allocated for your ads. You know what your budget is for your ad spend, and you've got that money in that account. This is important because if you're running your ads or someone else is running your ads, and then all of a sudden you don't have enough money in that account, well, you know, you basically have to start from scratch again. Once, you know, you've been running a campaign and it's finally optimized, because it takes a while. If you stop having the funds in this account, you know, you don't have the money right there, you have to basically start from the beginning. So it's important that you actually have more than enough funds allocated in the account that you're planning to use, keeping an eye on that so that you can have your ads running. So always have some padding and be generous with what your ad budget is, because your ad budget can go below, which is great, or it can go above, but you want to make sure that you're able to have that running consistently, because if it stops, you have to optimize from the beginning all over again, and it takes a lot of startup capital to get back to a point where, you know, you're able to make that. It's like an exponential thing, you know. It takes a while for it to get to the point where you're like, okay, this is working really well. I'm getting like really consistent leads from this. So I just thought I'd make a point about that.
Yeah, it's a great point. Persistence and consistency are terms that you hear a lot. It's the same with Facebook. You know, a lot of people think that you just spin up some Facebook ads and forget about it and they just do their thing. It's just not the case. We're constantly optimizing. And when you lose that momentum, it can really set you back, as you mentioned, Rachel. So that's a great point. One little tip that I learned really early in my eComm journey too was to use a credit card that has some type of reward system that is beneficial for your business. So
like
when I pick
cash every day.
yeah, cash back is fantastic. When I first started my journey, I was traveling a lot for work. So I was using a card that gave me travel benefits because I could get free flights just by advertising my business. So choose a card that gives you the rewards that are meaningful for your business. If you're going to be paying for ads anyways, why not get something out of it? So,
Yeah.
and especially when you start scaling your ads and you're spending, you know, thousands of dollars a month, those rewards really add up.
Yeah, that's a great point, Thad. And if you're an agency that's watching this and you're running multiple people's ad accounts, what you can do is you can, you know, have your client pay you, and then you can put your payment information in there and be getting, you know, all these rewards for the thousands or millions of dollars of ad spend that, you know, you're pouring out there. So that's something to think about too in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So for now, we won't put in, or we're not going to put in any payment info right now. This is our kind of.
Where's our money?
Yes. Shut up and give me your money.
You sure?
So let's move on to the next part. What we would probably do in this case in general, if we were setting this up new for ourselves or for a client, is we would move to pixel setup. And for those of you that are really, really new to what's going on in the world of Facebook advertising, the pixel is this piece of code that sits on your website or on your funnel, and it collects data. It collects, I think I read somewhere that Facebook has around, on average, 50,000 data points on any given user at any given time. So a lot more than just your name, your phone number, and your email address, right? But the pixel is what creates all of that data for us as advertisers and for Facebook in general. So the pixel sits on your website and it's created here.
Or it could be a landing page. It could be ClickFunnels, you know, anywhere that you are directing your clients to that you actually want to be tracking. So this is really important for people who were boosting posts in the past this is where we really are able to drive really awesome insights and get granular on what we're trying to optimize for. That's why pixels are so cool. It's basically like a stalking tag that you can put anywhere you want to stalk people. So you put it on your website, you put it on your ClickFunnels, you put it on your landing page, you know, wherever you want to put it, where you're trying to drive traffic to for whatever reason. This is where you put it, and it tracks those people from Facebook to that page, all their behaviors on your page, and then back and wherever they go. So it's anonymized data. So we don't like see who it is, but we're able to kind of manipulate the data so that we can optimize for a certain result, which is usually to get people to buy your stuff. That's usually what we're trying to do, you know? So that's kind of how it works in a nutshell.
And it's super powerful when we started getting into the granularity of how we're setting up ads later. This pixel comes into play in the sense, like you said, anonymously, but we can say, okay, people that perform these types of actions that are most likely to purchase or that are most likely to watch our video for 30 seconds or 75% worth, we can target those trends and those audiences that look like that. And we'll get into that later. But very powerful. Even with all the changes that Apple has made this year in the name of privacy, we still have an abundance of data that we can use to help us and to help you.
Absolutely. I know that's something that people are worried about. You know, they're like, a lot of people opted out. You know, how are we going to get their data? There's still quite a few people, you know, who voluntarily give their data. I voluntarily give my data. I feel like as a marketer, I would be, I don't know, it'd be sacrilegious because I use this data all the time. You know, I give this data so that other advertisers can advertise to me. And the things that they show me are things that I'm generally looking for. It's like they read my mind, because based off of the things that I do, they figure I want these things. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But it's a good reflection of my behaviors, of, you know, the things that they're showing me. I think a lot of people don't realize what they see on their phone is a mirror, a very magnified mirror of all their actions that they put out into the universe. So it's just it just comes back a lot quicker. You know, you do something in real life, it might not come back to you for a while, but it's like karma on steroids. You start looking at, you know, girls on Instagram, you're going to start seeing lots of girls on Instagram. You start looking at dog videos, you're going to see lots of dog videos. So whatever you pay attention to, it comes back. That's just a principle of life. So I think it's, you know, a lot of people kind of demonize it. It's not, you know, people watch the documentaries of like The Social Network and the, you know, I forgot what the other ones are called. I've watched them, but it's not as devious. It doesn't have to be as devious as, like, you know, you think it to be. You know, it's like you watch all the vegan documentaries and suddenly it's like everything's an ethical issue. Life doesn't have to be, you know, that serious all the time. So I just want to make a point of that too.
It's, you know, it's interesting though, when you talk about the granularity, man, I can't speak all of a sudden. When you talk about this, have you ever noticed, if you're looking on Facebook at something, almost anything, any product, and then an hour later that afternoon, maybe even the next morning, you're on a completely unrelated website, like, you know, your favorite news network or any other kind of, you know, outlet on the internet. And then you'll see little ads on the side of the product that you were looking at yesterday on Facebook. That's how powerful this is that we can, as advertisers, we can take this information and push it to other platforms so that we can capture you. And I use this term a lot. It's in my LinkedIn profile even. You know, we want to show your brand to the right people at the right place at the right time, wherever they are, right? So if they're on their PC on a web browser, if they're on their phone, if it's an iPhone, an Android, an iPad, doesn't matter. Wherever they are, we want to be able to get your brand in front of them once they've shown interest. So it's very powerful.
Thanks for sharing that, Thad. I would
we're in your mind.
Yeah. And I mean, like, again, a lot of buyers, like we're so all over the place now. It's like a lot of people, they want to buy something and they have the intention to do something, but they don't always follow up with themselves. So ads are like following up with them. It's like their personal accountability partner. Like, hey, weren't you going to buy that jacket? And then you come back to it and you're like, maybe I don't want to buy that jacket. But sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I was gonna buy that. I thank you for reminding me. So it's all about your perception too. Sometimes your buyers, they're out there, but they're like chickens with their heads cut off on the internet, just all over the place with their attention. So just making sure, our job is to make sure that we've got their attention. We're helping them find the things that they're looking for. That's how I see it.
And we've noticed that, having been in this game for a long time, that on average, we're finding, and this is not unique to us, but we're finding that people need to be exposed to your product or idea an average of 7 times before they are ready to make a purchase. So, in today's 24-hour news cycle and instant gratification and all those kinds of things, we think, oh, we just have to show them one time and they're going to buy. The reality is they've seen it in their news feed on Facebook 3 to 4 times. They went to a totally unrelated website and they saw a little banner image with your product a couple of times. Then they came back to Facebook, or then they were on Instagram and they saw it, or then they were on TikTok and they saw it, right? So average of 7 times, and then they're ready to buy. So we want to get your message out there. We want to get it everywhere so that they see it. And this is part of retargeting. This is part of the strategies that we use to make, your business successful. So starts with the pixel here. And interestingly enough, Facebook actually puts, when you go to create a pixel, if you recall, the business manager from last week and the ad account this week didn't put the word ad account or business manager, but it does on the pixel. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. So creating a pixel is very simple. Literally, we can just click continue. If we already have our website, we could put it in here, but we're going to give you a little bit more tonight, and we're going to show you how to install the pixel on your website. So we won't do it automatically here.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and show you guys how we can set up a pixel on a website, and specifically a WordPress site. There's a lot of different websites out there, but WordPress is still one of the most popular ones. Shopify is a great one too. That's one of the second most popular, I believe. So now I'm trying to figure out which screen I'm trying to share now. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go. If you're on WordPress, this is what the WordPress backend looks like. We're gonna go install a plugin to get our pixel on this website. Let's see, sorry. Let's see.
Oh, you know what, Rachel? I realized that I forgot to show us adding people to the asset of the pixel.
Oh,
so
okay.
I should probably mention, I don't think I need to go back and show it. It's exactly like adding people to the ad account. So if you remember that from about 15 minutes ago, where we selected their names and on the right-hand side, we gave them view access or manage full control access. So that's all we need to do. Same thing here.
All right. Thank you, Thad.
Sorry for forgetting that. My bad.
No worries. So do you remember actually which one it is for the plugin for WordPress?
Yeah, it's Facebook for WooCommerce.
Okay.
That is the one.
Last time I did this was a while ago. I have a designer working on my websites now as part of my team. So I am a little rusty, guys. Uh-oh. Well, I don't have a business plan. So.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So assuming you do have a business plan, it is relatively easy. It's just like if you've done a plugin on any of your WordPress sites, it's the same thing. It'll walk you through a step-by-step to, plug this into your site. But basically you go to plugins, you go search Facebook for Woocommerce and upgrade and install. We can cover this on our next video on a different platform, maybe WordPress. But yeah, it's really easy to do. You just install it and follow the directions. So I apologize for this. There's not very many accounts that I have that I think I have the same issue Thad has, is that I have an NDA with my clients, so I can't really go show you my client's website and start throwing things on there.
Yeah, it is very common. I would say well over 90% of our clients these days want full NDAs, which is totally fine. We have no problem with that, but it does preclude us from showing this here. So at some point, we'll probably just spin up our own, sites and start going through it. We may even do a full case study. It's something, we've considered a little bit, spinning up a new store and starting to show our own results. There's a number of groups out there that do that. So it's something we might consider in the future. But it is very easy, just like Rachel said, literally, once the plugin is installed, it'll say connect my Facebook account. Click on that, log into Facebook, select your ad manager and your pixel. That's it. Very simple. It's the same in WordPress and Shopify. So if you have any questions about that, please ask.
Yeah, and it's even easier in some of the other platforms like Shopify. Like, it's not even a plugin, so it's something that's already it's already something that's built into the Shopify platform, so you don't even have to do a plugin or anything. So that's what makes Shopify such a great platform for our e-commerce store owners, is that it just makes it so easy, like with things like Klaviyo and all this other stuff, that it's a lot of stuff's already built in. You can so easily advertise to your prospects, clients. I mean, I recommend Shopify to most people when they're building their e-commerce site.
Yeah, for sure. Shopify is a fantastic platform. One of the things that is nice about it is, generally speaking, there's not as much maintenance involved in the back end. A lot of the updates are done by the plugin authors. Shopify itself updates their platform. There's no real work required there for you, with a few exceptions. But it is very easy. Shopify and Facebook did kind of sign a partnership a couple of years ago. And so even getting your catalog from Shopify into your Facebook catalog is super easy these days. So you can sell directly right on Facebook without people even coming to your website. So we recommend Shopify to a lot of folks.
Absolutely, Thad. Well, I think that closes out our podcast. I think that's about everything we're going to cover tonight. So thank you to everybody that's watching or that will watch. Make sure to check us out on pretty much, where do we get our podcast? Pretty much anywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, and are there any other ones?
Yeah, so our podcast is on Spotify and Apple. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Late Night eComm, and like and subscribe. Wow. Yeah, so you can watch anytime. Watch our groups. We'll have links to everything, both our Facebook groups. So Rachel has hers, I have mine. We're live on alternating Facebook groups every week, every Monday night. And so make sure to check us out, because we love seeing you guys in the comments. Thank you guys so much for showing up. And just keep crushing it, guys. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas.
And happy holidays.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right, I'm not going to sing. I can't sing anymore. So see you guys. Take care.
I thought this was going to be a duet.
You thought we were going to do a duet? We might have to plan a duet sometime.
We'll do a duet. That'll be covered in our next episode.
One of our, maybe not our next, but one of our upcoming episodes.
Next upcoming episode. Stay tuned.
Upcoming episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. We'll see you next week.